What's up, and welcome to episode 295 of First Geek 411. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin, and with me, as always, from West Coast, Best Coast, Emma. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good. It's been a Monday, busy day, but hey, we're here
Yep.
chatting geeky news, and I'm excited about that. So,
Yep.
before we get into it, remember, you can find us around the internet as OneGeek411. Check out that Discord server. Shoot us an email at onestgeek411@gmail.com. Check out the Redbubble store and watch live on Twitch and YouTube Monday nights around 6:30 Mountain Time. And then you can also find the VODs and our book clubs and spoiler casts and all of that kind of stuff over on our YouTube. And then last thing, nope, that was everything. That's what I get for not looking. And so, but let's jump into what we have been up to with us doing Daggerheart and book club and stuff like that. We're only doing these episodes like once a month for our actual news stuff. And so we have a bit more like what we've been up to kind of space. But
Yep.
what all have you been up to?
Lots of things. Most of the things that shall be mentioned happened in the course of the last 3 days. Um, but first and foremost, Hades 2. I've been playing a lot of that since the beginning of the month. It's been a lot of fun. I'm not done with it yet, but I am just a good chunk of the way through, I'm pretty sure. Lots of good progress. I've made it both to the top and to the bottom at least once, if not twice, for both. Um, but it would be more, but I've also spent a lot of time like just collecting resources to like
Mm-hmm.
expand my inventory, so to speak. Um, so there's just been a lot of that. It's a lot of fun and I really enjoy it and it's just been so cool. I've been gushing over the artwork. Because all of the artwork for all of the characters is so cool and it's been great. And just a lot of fun and delightful. And I have
Mm.
all of the weapons now. Because I think the last time
Oh,
we talked
nice.
about it, I only had three of the weapons, but now I have all of them. So I'm proud of that. And then this weekend has been very busy. One of my best friends came to town to visit uh, for a concert that we went to on Saturday night that we have both been looking forward to for at least 6 months at this point. Um, this band, it was their first ever stadium tour, and they sold out
Oh,
in like
nice.
24 hours. So, like, super big deal. And it was very fun. We had a blast, and it was great. Um, and that was a lot of fun, but we were up late, and we got McDonald's after. But before that, we went to a fantasy book, like, fair. It was essentially like a book fair
That's super cool.
type thing, but it was all like fantasy books. So there was a lot of independent artists and writers and things, and it was very cool. One of my D&D friends knew about it and was going for her birthday, so we tagged along as a little like birthday celebration. And I got some art from an artist who worked on Monster High, which was cool, and that was a lot of fun. And then last night we went to the very typical thing that I do every year, which is Halloween Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. We only did three mazes, but it was the ones that we did were the Five Nights at Freddy's. We did the Fallout one, and we did the Jason uh, Friday the 13th maze. And those were all a lot of fun. They did
What do you
a.
think about the Fallout one in specific? That's another one that's
It
kind of like the
was,
Last of
yeah.
Us one from the other year. It's like, oh, I wish I liked these things.
Yeah, the Fallout one was fun. It was definitely like when they announced that they were doing it. For me, I was like, it's odd that they're doing Fallout because that doesn't really fit the theme of horror in my head. There are like zombie ghouls that like you
Mm-hmm.
can make work in that and fit into the genre of like a haunted maze or whatever, which was essentially what they did. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool to see. I wouldn't really still classify it
Yep.
mentally as like a full haunted house experience. Um, just because it wasn't like spooky, it was just like jump scare. yay, someone come into into your face with a flashlight or whatever. But it was a lot of fun. It was super cool. They had multiple ghouls with really cool makeup and stuff. And it was super cool. The FNAF one had at least 15 different full-sized robots, animatronics, which was super cool.
That's awesome.
Um, and that was a lot of fun. We would have done more mazes, but we had already been out super late the night before and we're just like destroyed and had been, on our feet all day. So we only did three, but we still had a lot of fun. Um, it was a good year, and it was a good time. And
Nice.
they had the Art the Clown from the Terrifier movies wandering around, and just watching interactions between that character and people was really cool. So it was a good time, and just had a very busy weekend running around doing a lot of stuff, but it was all fun stuff. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so you mentioned Hades 2. We'll talk more about Hades 2 later on. I have rolled credits, and so we'll be doing a review so far once we get into the news topics. And so, yeah, excited to talk more about that. And then I played a whole bunch of Lorcana the past couple weeks. I've been going to at least one set champs every weekend. And then I have also been doing normal league and then have some friends that I've been playing with a couple nights a week, including Sneaky from our Daggerheart show.
Yeah.
He and I played over Discord chat or like video call. And so that was a lot of fun. And so it was really cool to get out, play some more games. I'm doing one more set champs, I believe. They're kind of behind me. I have the fancy Maleficent promo. I posted pictures
Yeah.
of it in our Discord. And so I've gotten two, shooting for a third at this upcoming set champs. I'm sad I can only do one more, but I have done well so far. I've top 8'd both times. The one that I did over this past weekend actually went undefeated until the quarterfinals. And so I won my first three
Mm-hmm.
matches and then drew my final round to lock in second seed, and then had a really rough set of draws and stuff. And so, uh,
Mm.
and then it was a weird day overall. I don't want to get too much into it because it's like very like minutia of Lorcana and the deck, but I had a very like statistically weird day. But I'm happy that
Yeah.
with that, I still went like basically 3-1 on the day and made it to top 8.
Yeah.
And so that's exciting. And then, what else did I thought I had another Lorcana thing, and I don't think so. Oh, built a new deck for Deanna. We're going to see how it goes. We played a little bit with it tonight, and so built that for her.
Nice.
And then it's a Lady in the Tramp deck. So it's
Oh,
got
that's
like,
fun.
it's super fun. It's called Sea Dogs,
Mm.
because it has the dogs in it. Then there's a song, Under the Sea. And so
Fun.
it's really fun.
Fun,
It's
fun,
a cool
fun.
idea. And so we'll see how it goes. And then also played a little bit of Marvel Rivals over the weekend for the first time in like
A long time.
6 months, 7 months. And so
Mhm.
got on, played a little bit with Locke. So that was really cool. Got to try out Angela, one of the new characters. And so that was really cool. It's always fun to play. And it was cool being back. It's been, like I said, many months since I have played, but it was very
Mhm.
fun to jump back in and get some games going. And then finally, you mentioned going to a concert. Over in Swifty World, we had the release of Life of a Showgirl. And so had some friends over for release night and then went to the like movie watch-along long thing, which I think was my first time interacting with censored Taylor Swift in years. And so it was really,
What do you mean by censored Taylor Swift?
so it's like, so like the album's explicit, but like the version that was in the showing was not. It was like the censored version.
I've always thought of Taylor Swift as censored to begin with.
No, no.
Ah,
Um,
well, I'm not a Swiftie by any means,
yeah.
so
And
that
so like, I
goes
mean,
to
if you've
show how much
listened
I
on,
know.
Yeah, I mean, like it's something that like if I mean she has like not all of her songs are like explicit by any means,
Right.
but like there's a hand like she cusses I say a lot, a decent amount. And so, but it was
Yeah.
really funny to have like listened to the album at release with the like the normal version, and then go to the theater and everyone kind of just be shocked the first time something came up, and we're like, wait, that's not the lyric. And
Yeah.
so, and so, yeah, so that was fun. And then made some friendship bracelets, stuff like that. And so that was very
I
cool as well.
This is related because of my concert. I have a whole concert jar now, and most of these are bracelets that I got at my concert that I went to this weekend, and it makes me so happy. I have concert bracelets now, and they bring me joy.
Yeah. And then just because I don't think you said it, what concert was it?
Sleep Token, which is
Yeah.
essentially the Taylor Swift of rock and metal. They're more metal, but they are the Taylor Swift of of the metal genre. So,
Yeah.
um, I love them. They are great. They blew up very quickly over the past 2.5 years, in part thanks to the internet, um, which is how it goes these days. Um, but yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. I just had just realized I don't think you had said it. And like, obviously, I know because I know you that you're wearing the shirt, but for audio listeners or people that aren't looking too closely, wanted to give that shout out for you.
I'm gonna be living in this shirt and the other one that I got, 'cause I got two for the next week. Like I am not
Nice.
gonna be leaving. I just it's always gonna be one of the two shirts that I got because I spent way too
Treat
much money
yourself.
on merch.
I love that. And then I had obviously we've been doing Daggerheart. My Marvel Multiverse game is still going on and is still a lot of fun. And so my players are doing great. We're about to hit rank 3. I think we'll have one more session at our current rank. And then I think they have gotten to a place where they can basically break into a location to stop the bad guy. And I think they have the information that they need to actually go and formulate a plan and go and do that. And so,
I'm gonna forget that in the next 24 hours. So don't expect me to actually do anything with that information.
that yeah, I mean that was from Marvel, so you're fine, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so, although yeah, we'll see where y'all get up to in Daggerheart. I am excited for some of the stuff
That's
that I have
I
planned
was stuck
for
on the Daggerheart information.
yeah for the rest of this tier is going to be a lot of fun, and then I'm excited for the stuff that I have planned for y'all for the next tier also. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that is what we have been up to. Listeners, watchers, what have you been up to? If you're watching live, we'll talk about it over in the post show chat. Otherwise, we will catch you in the comment section. But let's jump into our news for this week. We got 3 big topics: Critical Role campaign for our Hades 2 review so far, and then New York Comic Con. So, Emma, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. My thing that I put down was that campaign 4 for Critical Role started 2 weeks ago, so we have 2 episodes at this point. I think we've talked a little bit about this at some point, unless I'm confusing you with another person I talked about this with. But basically, what we know is that the first 4 episodes have
Oh, yeah.
already been recorded, and those they're essentially treating as one big session 0, essentially as like a getting to know, like before they break off into specific like set tables. The who's at the table is kind of like a rotation just to kick off the campaign. So we're meeting the characters and getting to know them and setting up the lore for the world that we're in because it's a completely new world from what the previous 3 campaigns have been. And I've gone in pretty like neutral, not really caring one way or the other, and I still kind of feel that way based on the first 2 episodes. But I'm definitely like, I don't think I will be following this campaign closely, but I'm still like giving it a good chance of like, I'm gonna like stick around and like jump in here and there wherever I can, probably after these first 4 episodes. Um, my friend and I watched the second episode together Friday, Saturday, whenever. And I definitely feel like this campaign especially is more fun for me to experience with friends to like be able to talk about it
Mm-hmm.
as it's happening rather than to just have on in the background. Just because there's so much information getting thrown at us between
Yeah.
13 characters and entirely new lore and an entirely new world that we're not actively playing in because we're not the players, we're the viewers. That like I had more fun watching it with someone else and we could comment on different things that we picked up on. Um, which is part of why I'm like, I don't think I will probably be following it too closely, but it's still fun. There's some fun
Mm-hmm.
characters. Like the players all have super interesting and diverse characters. So it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. I've watched the first, about half of the first episode. And so,
Yeah.
and then my intent is to, I want to watch through the first 4 episodes no matter what. And then I want to watch like one episode per table and kind of
Hmm.
get the feel for that. And then we'll see how I go from there.
Hmm.
Like I will talk more about campaign 2 in a moment, but like I really liked campaign 2, but I fell off in like the mid 40s, late
Yeah.
40s, and then just like really never picked it back up. And then it was too long, and I was like, well, if I'm going to like I need to restart. And then I really liked campaign 3 abridged, but I need to go
Yeah.
and watch more of that. And so, cuz I liked Bell's Hells are fun, but I really want like I liked campaign 2 a lot character wise, and so
Hmm.
but as someone like I say as someone coming into this, we're all coming into this because it's just
Hmm.
starting. Like the
Yeah.
word that I would definitely say is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you go to like the Critical Role subreddit and like people have made the like relationship charts and stuff like
Yeah.
that of like just what we
There's
knew from like the first episode, I'm like
yeah.
this is insane.
We
Like
came
all
into
the
the
stuff.
first episode with basically all of the characters knowing each other to some extent,
Hmm.
whether as friends or family members or
Yeah.
kind of enemies or
Yeah.
whatever. Like there's every character had at least one connection to another character.
Yeah.
Whereas I think campaign 3, the going into campaign 3, it was just Marisha and uh
Laura's character.
Laura's characters who knew each other and everyone else. Oh, and then Sam and
Taliesin?
Allison knew each other, but those were the only like touch points. Everyone else was like a stranger, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like Liam and Abria's characters used to be a thing, and they have a child together, and like these other three characters over here were secretly part of an underground rebellion trying to save the brother who died, and these other people work together at a museum. So there's like so many pre-established relationships that like
Hmm.
we didn't get the chance to like process that
Yeah.
beforehand going into it. So it's a lot to figure
Yep.
out.
And I really like Brennan's like premise for the characters for this like again partway through episode 1. But the idea that like I don't think this is by any means a spoiler, but they're meeting up at someone's funeral.
Yeah.
And like that is such a great way of explaining why all the characters are here.
Yeah.
And like I think that's so clever like for this like West March's style of like hey, we need an intro that has can have anyone at any time. Cool, you've all gathered for this event of this person that you'll all know in various capacities. How do your characters know this person who has died that's like a relatively important person? And like that is such a fun like connection point to like kick off the campaign. And yeah, again, only partway through episode 1, so like there's probably already some answers to this question, but like I think it provides like a really cool way of like giving your players an opportunity to naturally form the tables that they're going to be playing for the West Marches. Like obviously they all
Yeah.
know who's going to be at what table, but this
Yeah.
gives them the opportunity to kind of like RP of like okay, well as we're building this out, why would my character go on this part of the journey compared to this other part of the journey? And so
Yeah.
I think that's really fun. Um, in chat, Tasha says there's so much information being thrown at us in these first 2 episodes, but you're really enjoying the characters so far. Also, hi.
I
That reminds me. Have you seen the theories about Sam's character?
Yes. He's
So
officially labeled as a cleric, but his
yeah,
stats say otherwise.
yeah, he does not have cleric stats. So
No.
is his is he not min maxing for the fun of it, or is he a secret other
I've
class? And so
yeah. I've the main one that I've heard is secretly another class, and the main one I've seen is that he's actually a warlock and he just doesn't know it because of his family and the secret, most likely terrible things that his family has been up to, and being very surface level with my comments right now because of things that have come out at the end of the second episode. There's a big reveal at the end of this second episode that definitely implies that he's not a cleric. Um, just in terms of like that piece of information,
mm-hmm.
then you can see it playing into the fact that he could absolutely be a different class.
Yeah.
That's not a cleric. So
Yeah. I'm that like that's the stuff that I think is super interesting too. Of like I love this idea of like because like this is difficult to do in a TTRPG, but the idea of like known information that you as a player know but your character doesn't, and vice versa
yeah.
when it comes to building your character. And so like I didn't have y'all do this for Daggerheart, but when I have done other campaigns, like I've had people basically you can like write your backstory and like you can think about it in these like buckets of like, hey, this is the facts about my character. And that's like where you start. Then there is the, as the player, these are the things that I think about the character that they don't know. And then the third bucket is like, here are things that like my character would know, but I don't have this figured out yet. Like, this is like a ripe, like tragic backstory that I haven't written yet. Like that kind of thing. Of like
here's the bullet
something
points of the
happened.
tragic backstory.
Yeah. Of like, and like sometimes like I did that with mine, my Eldritch Knight that I played, where I basically gave my DM like, I think this event happened. And I think my character perceives this event in this way, but that could be wrong. And I was like, here are other ways that this event could have transpired.
Yeah.
That could be things that you could tie in, shrug emoji. Like,
yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm really interested in this idea of like Sam's character's perceptions of himself versus reality. And we'll see if any of that's true. Like,
yeah.
Obviously Critical Role as a whole is not a show that is remotely focused on like min-maxing and being like the most powerful version. They're much more focused on storytelling. So it's very possible that Sam just kind of built the character that he thought would be interesting and that didn't align with the normal stats for the character, but I like the theory.
You and me both. You and me both.
And then any other thoughts on campaign 4?
I think right now Tyranny is my favorite character, Whitney's character. She's a fun tiefling warlock, confirmed warlock. In part because she's such a funny character to have combined with Sam's character specifically because Sam's character is this like very like pious, like stuck to the like religious code of conduct, so to say. And then you have this sort of chaotic, neutral warlock tiefling who's stuck at his side, who just wanders off to go do goofy things, and then he has to go chasing after her or whatever. And that's a fun dynamic. But that's my only other thought. So
yeah. In chat, Tasha says, Valus has been my favorite so far. I love her vibe. Yeah, she's really cool. I don't think she's been introduced yet in the episode that I'm in, but I really liked her, or like where I'm at in the episode, but I really liked her art. And so I think I'm excited to see what is going on with her. And so yeah. We'll be, of course, checking in with campaign 4 as we go, and keeping up on some of the news and stuff like that, the reveals. And so, and yeah, we'll be talking more about campaign, or about Critical Role in a moment. But before we do that, second topic, Hades 2 review so far. And so Emma gave a little bit of her breakdown and experience with the game. For me, I have rolled credits. So we're going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, both because I don't want to spoil things for Emma, but also this is just a review so far. And so I will just say there is seemingly more stuff after you roll credits, which is, from my understanding of Hades 1, not surprising. I have not done any of that yet. I literally finished that run, got the ending, and then stopped playing. And so just for the time, I will go back and do more because I do want to see more of what's going on. And so, with all of that, I kind of have given this breakdown before, but this is my first Hades game. I did not play Hades 1, and so I'm jumping in. Overall, I feel pretty good about that. This is something that I was definitely wondering about, and I do still intend to go play Hades 1 at some point.
Yeah.
But I have enjoyed my time, and I don't necessarily feel like I am missing anything. I think part of that is most of the other people in the Pantheon are not people that you talk with regularly.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm missing the character development for Zeus, because Zeus doesn't hang out at the crossroads. He just gets 2 lines whenever I pick up a boon.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like that helps. They do a good job of with Hades 2, putting in references back to the first game of there are character tie-ins of
mm-hmm.
Milenoe is related to, I'm forgetting the name of the main character in the first game, but they're related
Zacharias.
Essentially. Yeah. There are personal ties there. And they do a good job of sort of putting those in there, but they also do a good job of making this game very clearly its own story. It's not a continuation of Hades 1. It's its own separate story with the exact same, or basically a very similar gameplay format of this is just while Hades 1 is happening over here, or maybe shortly after the events of Hades 1, this other thing over here is happening. Let's go to this other thing over here now. And that's great for coming into Hades 2 as someone who didn't play Hades 1, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like it helps. It also helps that when all of your characters are immortal, timelines are kind of timey-wimey to begin with. And so it's
funky.
Yeah, this could literally just be Melanoi's age after Hades 1, or this could be 50 years later, shrug emoji. It's kind of unclear. And since all of basically your whole cast is immortal, okay. And so from a gameplay perspective, Emma referenced the weapons. I really liked the weapons, except for the one that's a skull. That was the only one. Yeah, that's the only one.
Favorites. That's my second favorite.
Interesting. Yeah, that is when that one comes up as an option, as the one it's telling me to use to get the bonus, I don't get the bonus.
Yeah. It's good if your play style is you want to attack a creature from a distance, but you also do a lot of moving around the map, because definitely the challenging thing about it is you run out of ammo and then you have to go collect the ammo.
Yeah.
And there is a boon to that you can get that's the ammo will come right back to you, but it's not a guarantee that you'll get that every run. So
yeah, and I think that's one of the things that that also exists in the game, and I assume this is in Hades 1 as well, is there's a set of challenges for chaos.
Yeah.
And so those are super cool because it like drops you into the game with an established build already. Sometimes it's only like 1 or 2 boons, but there's other times it's like a full loadout. And it's just like, oh, this is a crazy kit that is starting with like 10 boons.
Yeah.
As I'm supposed to go do this. And so that's super interesting. I need to go do more of those. Because I've enjoyed those as like quicker runs of just go. Because typically it's just fight one boss and you just have to fight your way there. But a lot of them are really interesting ideas. And like there was one with the axe that I think like they like increased your attack speed or something like that. So you could actually like attack really quickly with it versus the normal slow hits. And so that was really cool. And then I think my favorite ended up being the 5th one. That's like
it's like the wings or whatever, the cape.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that yet.
I think that one's my favorite. Like I think I was looking at the record keeper that you unlock that tells you like what you used and like what weapons you've cleared runs and stuff with and what boons you've used and stuff like that, which was really interesting. And I think that one is my most cleared weapon.
Yeah, you've spent the most time on runs with that one out of any of them.
Or like I'm most likely to finish runs if I use that one.
Yeah.
And so
I'm most likely to finish a run with they look like the 2 torches.
That's my second favorite is those.
Yeah. I love that one because you don't have to be in the middle of like monster crowds. You can like be out of the way and take less damage.
Yeah. I think that one's super cool. And then it's one of the things I always think is interesting is, and I think this leads to good design, is that specific weapons, sometimes I'm just attacking. Other times I'm actually like using the special or like doing stuff like that. And I think it's interesting to kind of go through them and kind of see, well, what is based on the weapon that I'm using, which way do I want to play this?
Yeah.
And so
my favorite thing to do is to weaponize my dash. So any chance I get to like pick the option in a boon where my dash also causes damage, I'm taking that one.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. Overall, I really like the progression. I feel like some of this is going to be like the most mid takes for Hades because it's things that everybody else learned in the first game, but this is the first one that I'm playing. But like, I really liked the progression in this game. I liked that as you unlock more and more, there's a lot more of like, oh, this character is here. And like I wasn't like expecting blank to show up. I don't want to give spoilers just in case, but like it's like, oh, this random character shows up when I'm in zone 2 of the upper area. And it's just like, oh, that is just not a character I anticipated being here.
Okay.
And so I think stuff like that is really cool. It's a fun way of like making the runs feel interesting because you never know who's going to show up. And so that definitely adds to it. And I think makes the game makes each one run feel unique. And then as you are then being like, oh, well, now I need to chip away at blah, 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 because I actually got this person to show up and then they gave me this bonus. And so I think that that's super interesting and is a fun way to handle progression. And then overall, the bosses, I do think it's funny, like how some of the bosses felt like they were never a problem, and then other bosses felt like they were a brick wall.
Yes.
Like.
Yeah.
Like.
I always played in. That happened to me in like stages where I was always like the first boss would be a brick wall for a good chunk of time. And then suddenly they were like super easy. And then like the second one would be super easy, but then suddenly the third one is like hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Like and I feel like, I mean, this is, I think, good boss design of like, generally I feel like the bosses in the second, when you go up, are much more difficult in that second section. And like, obviously you as a player should be better at that point by the time you get to them.
Yeah.
But like, there was a handful of those bosses that I, like the second boss in that area, again, this is like super vague because we're not trying to do spoilers, but like the second boss in that area would like regularly get me even after I'd cleared them. And I
That's
was
one
like,
of my
oh
least
man,
favorite fights. Is always
yeah.
that one. I don't like
And
that
then,
fight. I still don't, and I regularly beat it now.
yeah, that I feel like that one has my most variance fight.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like we were talking about this pre-show, like I beat the upper final boss on my first try and then got like
Which is wild.
demolished 4 times in a row or something like that. I was like, how did I luck into this the first time? And then now
Yeah.
I just can't do anything. And so, and not that I'd cleared that whole upper section, but the first time I saw that boss, I cleared them. And so it was cool. I really like the boss design. I wish there was more of them because like as you play through, there's like bosses that you can fight just as you're going through. And a lot of those, yeah, and a lot of them just kind of felt like, and some of them are quite literally just normal enemies, but stronger.
Yeah.
And then I wish there was a little bit more there with those.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's something that would have been interesting. And maybe some of this still exists in the game and it's stuff that just happens in the new section, or I just didn't get it. But like, I was hoping a little bit more, like a bit more of those would feel special than they did.
Yeah.
Just because the boss design of like the core bosses is so good that I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised that just doesn't really carry over to the mini bosses.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like it's in a similar boat. There are also, granted, like there are a few of those quote unquote mini bosses that I just don't like to fight because they do feel on the same level as the core bosses. I'm thinking of, this isn't a major spoiler, I don't think, but it's the tentacle
Oh, yeah.
boss going up when you're in the shipyard area, who I always have the hardest time with that fight. And I lose a lot of material and stuff that I've collected trying to do that fight because it does feel like a core boss fight just in terms of my play style. My play style doesn't really do well in that fight. So that's one that I'm like, that feels like a core boss fight. But all the others, I'm definitely with you with like,
Yeah.
I do wish there was a bit more there.
Yeah. I'll agree. I feel like that's also one that for me, like that boss wasn't, or that mini boss wasn't hard, but the amount of resources it took to beat them was never worth
Yeah.
it.
It's more annoying than
Yeah.
anything.
Like I think I only wiped that boss once, but there were definitely
Yeah.
times that because like it like sapped so many of my resources that I just like couldn't get through the next couple
Yeah.
sections.
Yeah.
And so, which I think is interesting. And I wish it, like if you had a little bit more control, that'd be interesting. Of like, oh, is this a run I want to risk it for the reward for this? But like, the reward
Yeah.
for beating that boss just never felt worth it because it's the same thing you
No.
would like. It's just the same thing that you would get for a normal room. So
Yeah. Yeah, if I think that's the other thing is if the rewards for doing those mini bosses were a little more than normal rewards, then it definitely would feel a bit more worth it, even just if the bosses themselves stayed the same.
yeah. Or I feel like if like the various other characters that you meet as you do your run that help you out, that like if you fight this boss, one of them is there. Like that would make fighting the boss feel worth it. Or fighting the mini boss feel worth it. But since it's just kind of like, oh cool, I get a boon, I guess, the exact thing that I've gotten for every other room.
Yep.
Like and maybe there's some like stuff going on in the back end of like you're more likely to get an epic or something like that if you fight those. Maybe there's like that kind of stuff. But since I don't know the math, it just kind of never felt worth it. And that was honestly probably my only major disappointment with the game. Like I really feel like I liked everything else. Like the characters are all super cool from what you get of them. A lot of them are either like, yep, this is the character from Greek myth, or like, there's like some like slight twists and stuff like that. But I overall really liked the characters. The witchy vibes are super cool, which like we knew going in. We kind of have in our art, like we have that's up on stream. We have Hecate as like a super cool witch character that exists, and like the Silver Sisters that are in the game. And so like that was super cool. I like that side of the mythology of like not because like that's something that's always like super weird that like the Greek gods don't do magic, even though they have all these powers. Like magic is this separate thing that also exists. And like, I think that's always like super fun of like seeing this other side of that world. Like, and so like that was fun. Again, I loved the actual like core bosses. Some of them are definitely more like brick wall-y than others, I felt like, but and then there was definitely some times where, man, I kind of wish I could just skip this boss. Like, not even because like they're hard, but just like your first boss you fight so many times, because every time you do that run you fight that boss, and I feel like after I beat them I never died to that boss again, and I was just kind of like, I kind of wish I could skip this.
I'm definitely with you on that. There should be like either a setting or a reward option or whatever, where it's like, if you beat this boss X number of times, you can then choose to skip that fight after beating them X number of times. And it like each boss has a different number of times you have to beat them before you can choose to skip it. So like the first boss in both areas is like 8 times, 10 times, or whatever. And then once you beat them that number of times, then it's like, congratulations, you've met a milestone. Would you like to make this fight optional? And that would be worth it.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Like, I feel like that would just give some more variety of like, I just want to get through this section because I want to see the next sections, and I just feel like once you get good, like that first boss, it's like you're not gonna die, you're probably not gonna lose a death defiant. Like, it's just, you're literally just taking 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, and just like, fighting this boss. And so then I'm trying to think if there's any other like major call-outs. I mean, this is kind of like the vibe, obviously, of the game, but with it being a roguelike, I wish that there was just kind of like a tooltip of like, this character gives this type of stuff. Like, I know you can go and look up what the boons are, but like when I'm picking, like there's a tool or whatever that you can get for every member of the Pantheon that makes them more likely to show up, and then gives you a boost, the ability to like increase the rarity of one of their boons. Like, I really wish on that menu it told you, pick Poseidon if you want blah blah blah. Poseidon's abilities tend to be water or air, like that kind of stuff. And like some of them are like obvious, but like there's definitely been times where I'm like, man, I really just don't remember who gives me this option, and I would really like it to just be a tooltip instead of having to go dig through. Like, the information is there in the game, I just wish it was more like at my fingertips, or maybe it's an option you could turn on, but like or if you're about to go into a room, if it'd be something like Poseidon, this type of ability, then if you go into the other door, it would be like Zeus, these kind of abilities. And again, like, I feel like a lot of times that's obvious, but there were times where I was trying to do a build around a very specific thing, and I'm like, man, I really just don't know which to do that gives me that thing. And like, I really wish that tooltip was not digging through the journal. So
there's there's a boon that I like that you get a little later, going down, I think, where it's like if you have four air type boons, you get your damage can only ever do like the
Mm,
maximum amount or whatever. Um, and I really like that because that's a nice, like, you then know that your damage amount that you're doing is the max that you can do, but then that also means that you have to plan out and make sure you get
yeah.
those four air type boons first before that can go into effect. Um,
Yeah.
that plays into that. Like, it would be nice to know what is like element types different characters are likely to give you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Of like, and I know one of the ones that always confused me was Apollo versus Hermes. Like
Mm.
those are ones that in my head I could never like sort out which ones are which.
Yeah.
Um, versus like again like using Poseidon as the example of like yeah he does stuff with splash and splash knocks things away. Cool.
Yep.
But like there are definitely other ones that like I very much struggled to remember like what side they were on. Um, and so, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for more post game. I'm excited to do some more runs, do some more of the actual challenge runs because you do, and I assume this is in Hades 1. You unlock the
Mm.
ability of like you can choose like modifiers. Then those modifiers like will get you more of specific kinds of resources, and there are ways
Yeah.
there of like powering up some of the bosses, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I need to go and try to do more of those.
Yeah.
But um,
Yeah, they've kept the core gameplay pretty much the same from the first game.
yeah,
Because that's something that was in the first game as well. And that's
okay,
something I really like because it was like it's part of the reason Hades 1 like did so well when it came out was because it there wasn't really anything that felt lacking in
hmm
just the game design. And here they did a good job of keeping it relatively the same, just putting it in a different context of a different story and adjusting minor details to who the characters were.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Um, but yeah, I know. I'm sure we'll talk about it more, um, especially as you get further in the game and as I play more. Like I don't know if we'll ever do like a formal review, which is kind of why I wanted us to just kind of take this
yep,
time to do like a review so far and thoughts so far.
yeah,
But it may show up in like top fives for end of the year. We'll see. Um, but yeah, I did really want us to kind of just have some opportunity to chat about the game since it is like a newer release that we are actually both playing, which doesn't always happen. And so I wanted
oh,
us to have that chance. And so, but yeah, let's jump into, oh, of course, listeners, chatters, if you're playing Hades 2, let us know your thoughts. If you want to talk spoilers, of course, you can come in the Discord, hit that spoiler tag, all that kind of stuff. And so let us know who your favorite person is. Why is it Hecate's abs? And yeah, we'll
heck
chat
yeah.
about all that kind of stuff. And so, but yeah, let's get into our final topic of the week. This past week was New York City Comic Con. As you would expect, there was a whole bunch of announcements. We are not going to talk about all of them. And so
Oh,
I don't know if there was anything overly specific you wanted to talk about in addition to the ones I put in the show notes, but we'll go through those and then we can chat about them as we go. And so I kind of have like kind of three and change, like 3.5-ish stories that I wanted to pull out for us to talk about. And so
mhm.
the first one is we got the Mighty Nine Amazon series trailer. So we have
Yeah,
known
we did.
this is on the way. We've been referencing coming back to Critical Role. Like, this is what we're talking about. And so we finally got the trailer for Mighty Nine Season 1. I'm so excited. Um, and I think I've talked about this before, but like one of the interesting things for Critical Role is like I feel like Season 1, a lot of characters are the stereotypical that character. Like
Yeah.
Grog is the most barbarian to ever barbarian.
Yep.
Like Keyleth is the most druid to ever
To
druid.
ever
Like
druid.
yeah.
Percy's the
And
most
then
artificer type to artificer, or whatever
yes,
its class
exactly.
is. I'm pretty sure it's an artificer.
Exactly. and then you get into campaign 2, and I feel like in campaign 2 a lot of the characters are the inverse. Like
Jester's the least cleric you could ever
yeah,
cleric.
yeah, exactly. Like, and like Jester's kind of like the prime example there, but like Jester, like, for really, and this kind of gets into the campaign 4 theories, but like Jester, like, is like Laura really plays Jester, like, personality wise much closer to a warlock,
Yeah,
but they're a
100%.
cleric. And like this kind of gets into something that's like really fun of like the traveler, right, is her deity, or
Yeah,
her patron, whatever it's actually called for a cleric, her domain. I don't know.
I think it's patron.
Um, because I know like patron is warlock, but I don't know if it's also that for a cleric. Regardless,
I
that's
don't
a
know.
digression.
Either way.
And so I'm really excited for this. Like, I really like Jester. Obviously, like Jester and Ford have kind of become a thing. Shout
Yep.
out to the book that they talk about that.
The recent live show.
Yeah, their recent like marriage and stuff like that, and then or upcoming. Has it happened?
So the live show happened already, and they're
Okay.
doing like they're they recorded it, and they're like doing limited releases at different movie theaters throughout the U.S.
Oh, okay. That was my like my thought, but I just wasn't sure
Yeah,
what I remembered,
and they'll
and
probably
so
put it on Beacon or something.
okay. So yeah, so like I feel like there's a lot of stuff there, and I feel like even though I have not finished campaign 2, like I feel like campaign 2 is a highlight for a lot of people, and so I'm really excited, like as someone who has not finished it, to get to see it in this capacity and get to
Hmm.
see it like in the animation style. It looks super cool. I'm very excited to see all of these characters.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, any thoughts based on this trailer for you?
I saw it once, like right when I came out, and then the week happened. But I'm just excited. I don't have any specific thoughts one way or the other. I think it's gonna be fun. I did see one, like basically a side by side comparison of a moment that Ford has in the trailer versus like the actual like in from the campaign, and it's literally just like one of the mannerisms that Travis gave him when they were playing the campaign, and then they kept that carried over into the actual animated show of just like this fun little mannerism that he gave Ford just to make him more of a character and like feel like he came to life. And that was fun to see of just like they did try to keep things as close to how their players sort of envisioned them, which is cool.
Um, I'm excited, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of that, because I do really love the fan side by sides, and even like the fan like response is probably not the right word, but the like, oh, what did they change? Because like even for campaign 1 that I watched all of, like there's a lot of the very specific details there that I don't remember.
Yeah.
And so I think it's always really cool to go and see people go like bring in the like, hey, here's the 20 like second clip from the campaign, and here's how they translated this into the show. And like
Yeah.
I think that's always super cool to see. Mighty Nine drops on November 19th over on Prime, and so I am, like I said, very much looking forward to it, and I'm sure we will be discussing it quite a bit as we get through
Yeah.
that season. And we'll probably, I would anticipate, we'll probably do a spoiler cast once it's all out. I don't know. I would
I will be
suspect it's weekly
renewing my
releases,
Prime for that. I don't know.
but
I canceled my Prime because I wasn't using it, and then I
hmm,
forgot that things like this existed only on Prime. So I'll renew it once that comes out. But I think they did a weekly release for
yeah,
Vox Machina, so I wouldn't be surprised
yeah,
if they did a weekly release for this.
yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. And so But then, yeah, second piece of news, we got a bunch of announcements from Marvel for 2026, including some more information on X-Men 97, which I'm very excited for, getting its season 2, coming out in this, over the summer. And so I loved X-Men 97. Did you watch it? I don't remember if we had. Okay. So as a throwback follow up to the 90s X-Men cartoon, we got this, and yeah, I really I think X-Men 97 was extremely well done. I love its take on the characters, and so I'm very excited for us to get more of that. Also just kind of having a story that is self-contained, I guess, in a way of obviously everything Marvel is multiversy, but this is specifically these X-Men and this continuity. And so I do think that is pretty fun. And then we got some information for Wonder Man, which is coming out in January 27th. Have you had a chance to check out this trailer? I am hopeful for this because it seems like it's going to kind of be a very self-aware show. So the premise is that it's a Wonder Man is a character within Marvel that is played by just a normal actor. And so it's them making superhero movies within the Marvel universe.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like superhero media within the superhero media. And so I'm really interested. I don't think it's supposed to be fourth wall-y in the same sense as She-Hulk was or Daredevil. But I think we'll have some very self-aware humor when it comes to some of the stuff that's going on.
It's I only know this happens because I am on Tumblr, but one of the current Star Trek shows has in the in universe a TV show that is essentially just the original Star Trek show. It's a show making fun of the original Star Trek show that exists in universe. And it seems similar to that. So
yeah. Or as another example, going back to Critical Role, Tusk Love, which is what I was trying to think of. Where Tusk Love is a fiction book within the fiction setting, and so it kind of hits that same vibe. And then we also got to see some more information on Vision Quest, which this is from Gizmodo, by the way, since I hadn't cited our source, which Marvel has called closer to a trilogy comprised of WandaVision, Agatha All Along. And so this will kind of be the part 3 of that story, which I think is super cool. I know this is something that has been discussed before, was this idea of shows that are not numbered sequel or same character sequel, but are storyline sequels. I think is a fun way of taking stuff and playing with the MCU. Obviously, as a reference, Agatha was the big example there of yes, she's in WandaVision and is a major part of it, but then she's the protagonist of Agatha All Along, not Wanda. And so I think that's really cool. And so I'm excited for this. It says, we find out that White Vision is struggling to make sense of what his red counterpart did to him in WandaVision. As a result, he's seeing digital or robotic characters like Ultron, Friday, and even Dummy in human forms. Vision and Wanda's son Tommy, aka Speedball, will also show up, played by Ryder, Ruaridh. And so the show has a vague window of 2026, so it might be the last show of the year. And I wouldn't be surprised that if it's a Halloween-y type setting. just because that seems to be kind of how what they've done with some of the other ones. And so,
That sounds like a fun, spooky thing that they would do.
yeah. And so, so I'm excited for all of that. Again, Marvel is in, I mean, this is, again, a super mid take, but Marvel's in such like a weird spot. And like, hearing that like Vision Quest is, they're thinking of it as a trilogy makes me excited as a fan, because that's how it's kind of felt. And so I'm excited that they're kind of acknowledging that that's the idea. And I am hopeful as we kind of get more stuff of what 2026 is going to look like, besides just like the major tentpole films, that we're going to kind of just get some more like interesting side projects, especially if they can be like on caliber of like WandaVision and Agatha All Along, that like, while by no means perfect shows, I think we're like fun and interesting in a way that some of the other projects haven't been. And then our last announcement, and shout out to Locke who had posted this in the Discord, we got the announcement in the DC world of a Batman Nightfall. And so, again, from Gizmodo, at the Comic-Con panel on Friday, Warner Bros. Announced a 4-part multi-chapter animated event, with the first film releasing sometime in 2026. In the comics, Nightfall, it was created by Joe Duffy, Doug Marnock, Chuck Dixon, Dennis O'Neil, Peter David, Alan Grant, Jim Aparo, Jim Ballant, Graham Nolan, and Norm Breyfogle. That ran from 1993 to 1994. According to the press release, it seems that Batman, pushed to his mental and physical breaking points after a steroid-using mercenary Bane comes to Gotham and bursts his rogue gallery out of Arkham Asylum. And so this looks really cool. This is a comic series that like I'm familiar with in name, but not familiar with a lot of the specifics of what goes on outside of like kind of the big plot points. And so again, this is from the article. Nightfall is considered one of the most important Batman arcs, along with introducing 2 new supporting characters. It's considered instrumental to the birth of the Bat family as we know it today, which includes Nightwing, the Robins, and Batgirls, and Azrael, funnily enough. And so, super cool. Like, I feel like one of the challenges that we have had with DC is that, and I feel like maybe Marvel has gone too far now, and this is the other direction, is like DC, I feel like hasn't had time to really develop a lot of these random other characters. Like, we know there was a Batgirl movie that got scrapped, even though it was mostly done according to reports. And so like a lot of the like side Bat family type characters really haven't gotten any movie time ever. Like Robin was in Titans.
Yeah.
But like that wasn't like mainline films. And so, and of course, like this is animated, not mainline DC. So we'll see if this is going to be like Elseworld or if this is going to be canonical for the, for James Gunn's DCU. And so, but I'm excited for us to see more of these characters. And I am, like I said, this is something that like I need to go and watch a lot of the other stuff, because I know a lot of people have really loved the animated DC movies, and I have like been meaning to go watch them and just haven't.
Yeah.
And so getting to see some more animated projects, I think would be super cool. And I'm glad that this is continuing, because like, I feel like, again, there's no superhero fatigue. There is just bland movie fatigue.
Yeah.
And I feel like the animated films, again, for the most part of what I have heard from people saying online, like people have really loved the way that they've gone and like enjoyed the buildup of that world of characters. And so I'm definitely hopeful that we'll get to see some more of that type of storytelling continue. And so, obviously, a whole lot more happened at New York City Comic Con than just those like three things
Yeah.
with kind of the Wonder Man being our like little diversion. But I did want to kind of just call that out as our examples or as like our big talking points. If there are any stories that we missed, let us know over in the Discord. I know there's definitely there's one we might talk about in post show chat, and so, but yeah, with that, we can go ahead and wrap up our discussions for today. Any final thoughts on campaign for Hades 2 or New York City Comic Con, Emma?
No, I may check out the Batman show at some point, whenever or movie, whenever it comes out, but I may forget by the time it comes out,
Yeah.
and
Then
that's
hopefully it'll be
okay.
a pleasant surprise. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and so, as some housekeeping before we wrap up, as a reminder, no book club this month, and probably none in November. And so we'll see what that looks like. We may end up calling it until January and start back over then. We may try to slip in a book club early in December before we take our like normal end of the year break. We'll figure it out. Stay tuned. Next week, we are back with Daggerheart, with the crew, doing our tier 2 play. Our characters have been on an adventure trying to figure out what's going on with this weird mushroom and this lava-like substance that is coming out of it. And so they have been investigating. I made them split the party. And so we have been dividing and conquering.
Against our
And
will.
Yes. Thank you for all the fear that y'all have rolled that I can use to do these things. And
You are
so,
not welcome.
and so, yeah, we'll be back with that story, continuing it. And then, we'll be going with that, of course, through the year as well, until we can get through. I mentioned this to y'all. My goal had been for us to wrap this campaign before the year ended, as our like very quick stuff has happened, and y'all are just RPing too much and having too much fun. And so we're having too much fun with these characters. And so that's been a blast. I'm looking forward to getting to spend more time in this world and with these characters and stuff like that. And so I'm looking forward to us being back. But that's all we got for tonight. As a reminder, you can find us as One Geek 411 around the internet. You can join our Discord server, shoot us an email at onestgeek411@gmail.com, check out the Redbubble store, watch live on Twitch and YouTube, and then find those VODs over on our YouTube. And then you can find us on our personal social media. Mine is Humar Whittle.
Mine is I am not prepared with an I am the prepared.
And it's been a great week.
Drink your water.
Get a boon.
Yeah.